Hello and welcome to Library Grindhouse. The only ticket you need is your library card. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Leah, and today we'll be reviewing the 1992 film, Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Yes, not the Invisible Man.
Yes.
An Invisible Man. So, I mean, John Carpenter, Chevy Chase, what could go wrong? Apparently everything.
Apparently everything.
Because I was like 10 or so when this movie came out, and it was a bomb. I mean, this thing is 30 years old, and the stink is still strong on it.
It wasn't horrible.
We'll get into it, but yeah, I mean, the VFX works. I mean, it's rightfully hyped. It was all over the place. Like, I feel like it was on like 2020. Like, Baba Wawa was like all talking about it and stuff. I've seen a bunch of Chevy Chase movies as a kid.
Yeah.
So I was so excited to see this one because it was everywhere. You could not escape it.
I was really excited to watch this as well, especially when I had completely forgotten about the whole John Carpenter aspect. So when I turned it on, I saw it.
Done.
When I saw it, I was just like, what? This is John Carpenter. And Chevy Chase and Daryl H. I don't know how to pronounce. What is it? Daryl Harris?
Hannah?
Daryl
Hannah?
Hannah? Is that right? Maybe I'm flipping her. That is her.
It's Daryl Hannah. Splash?
Yeah.
Grumpy Old Men.
Why was I thinking her name was different?
Gosh, I had such a crush on her in those movies.
I mean, she's
Kill
beautiful.
Bill?
Yeah, she's beautiful.
But I didn't really care about her until the Grumpy Old Men movies. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was because Kevin Pollak was like, if he could get with her.
No, I don't. I saw the whole cat, and then of course, which I'm horrible with names. As soon as I saw what's his face, I was like, Jurassic Park.
Sam Neill.
Yeah. I was just this. It's full. It is chock full.
This was a big. What's crazy about this movie? You talk about the reconnaissance and stuff. This wasn't like a renaissance for either of these guys, but this was 1992. This was the year of Sam Neill and Tobolowsky.
Yeah.
Groundhog Day was this year. I think Sneakers was either 91 or 92. Tobolowsky was in that one. This movie, he was in every movie.
Well, it's as soon as early 90s movies, I feel like there's a special place in my heart for them.
Sure, yeah.
And I was expecting this to be one of them. I love all of the vacation movies. Love Christmas Vacation. I love, Vegas Vacation. All of them.
Ooh,
love
Vegas.
Chevy. I do.
Ooh,
I love Vegas Vacation.
Okay.
It's funny.
Mm.
It's that shtick humor that I like.
Sure.
So
okay, Leah.
I was.
Sorry.
You can judge me. It's okay.
I am.
I am. But I was expecting a funnier.
I knew
movie.
going into it not to expect it because I don't remember laughing once as a kid, and that was what bothered me. I was just like, what am I supposed to think or feel about this movie? But also, I forgot. Sam Neill. This was also the year of Sam Neill. This was also The Piano, which I've not seen, but it was like won Best Picture or something, or it was nominated. What's her face? The actresses in the movie both, I think, won Oscars, I want to say, or were definitely nominated. I know Anna Paquin won for it, but that was 92-ish, I want to say. And Sam Neill was in that movie. Jurassic Park was the next year. It was... Yeah. Sam Neill was everywhere. And then he'd also be in another John Carpenter film later in the 90s in The Mouth of Madness.
Okay.
And it it hurts me that John Carpenter made this movie. Big Trouble in Little China. We've reviewed Halloween. Trying to think what else. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on this? Escape from New York. Escape from LA. Which was not long after this. Let's see what else.
So is this his downward?
I don't know.
You feel
he's had some They Live was awesome. Roddy Piper, R.I.P. Man. He such a brilliant satire of Reaganomics, and still holds up to this day in that regard. And let's see what else. Big Trouble. I don't know. Anyway, the dude. The track record's crazy, at this point. And this movie's just nothing. I think it was shot on Panavision Lessons, for what I can tell, which is a Carpenter hallmark, but that's it.
Yeah. I didn't really see any...
No synth score.
I didn't really see any nods to him, except for one random, and I can't remember what it is. I think it's in my notes. But, I didn't really see anything John Carpenter-esque in this
because it's also definitely not John Carpenter's Memoirs of an Invisible Man, because usually he's able to negotiate that's his thing. He takes some of his pay. He's like, I'll take a little less money, but I want my name on the movie.
That's advertising for you.
Right. It's John Carpenter's Halloween.
Yeah.
It's John Carpenter's The Thing. It's John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China. Oof, that Coupe de Ville song. It's glorious. Anyway, so we open. Oh, and Michael McKean. Michael McKean, he's hilarious.
Right.
He's a hilarious guy, and he's nothing in this movie. It was just like, why? Why did you cast all these people? Like, I mean, young Patricia Heaton.
Well, and I feel like
Everybody Loves Raymond. I was like, wait, what?
I feel like all of these people too. It was almost like they didn't even. And I hate saying this because I haven't been in their shoes, but I feel like they didn't reach their like typical acting level, their typical grandiose, their typical.
Is it Carpenter? Was it something else? Like, I just don't know. I was like,
was there just a dark cloud over the set like the entire time of filming? Everyone just doesn't seem to be like getting there.
I just don't know. There's no making of, as far as I know. There's like no. I mean, maybe the Shout Factory disc has something, and I probably should have bought it just to see like if there's any. Excuse me, but I think it's all just going to be like making of and the VFX. I don't think it's going to be anything about anything else. I know no one wants to like badmouth people or things because you want to keep working, but it's one of those things where it's like I just want some context. Like, what happened? Like,
I agree.
Was it a lot of like producers on the set? Was it just, you don't have to badmouth people, but like I just want the straight story of like. I
feel like it feels kind of
went down.
It feels kind of stifled. Like the entire movie kind of feels.
I think part of it though was they knew they were spending. They had all these shots where it's like, okay, these shots are going to cost millions of dollars, and everything else we just have to get it done.
Yeah.
And then they can and spend as little money as possible.
But even still, like if you're an actor, you feel like that you'd want to put like everything into a movie just because. Obviously, it's going to be out there. Like, you cannot wipe this away. It's like the internet. It's always going to be there.
Or coasting. I don't know. It's just really weird.
I don't know.
Anyway, so we open with a pan of San Francisco during the day as, I guess, a promise of things to come, because it goes right from there to then a night shot with a helicopter flying and guys wearing massive headsets that I thought were night vision at first, but they're actually thermal goggles.
Well, it was funny because like the first shot that you see through the glasses, I was just like, so they have spy glasses that make your vision worse, because it wasn't even night vision or thermal. It just looked like pixelated green and black.
It was thermal cameras though. I mean, thermal imaging, which I mean, in its infancy. On their heads, like usually that would be like a bigger like thing. Yeah. So that was like really cool to see, because early '90s were all about goggle tech. I mean, we talked about Lawnmower Man, also 1992, 30 years this year.
That's the thing, is that happened when we were watching. I was like, did I accidentally turn on Lawnmower Man 2? I did. I was like, what am I watching?
I have so many memories, Leah, of that time. It was like Patriot Games had cool night vision goggles. Silence of the Lambs ended with night vision goggles. Predator 2 had not only like different things you click through, like because it's like you knew he had the thermal vision, but then he clicked through and he had other visions. Like it was, around this time, it was all about this like tech.
Yeah.
I mean, even RoboCop, they had like a scene where it was like he could see through the wall and see like the thermal, and it was like they actually. Had the actors in like these like leotards that were like the heat print color. Yeah. And so they got around it looks great. It looks like they actually had thermal imaging or something, but they just did a lo-fi thing and it was amazing.
But this one did not look very great.
Who knows how much they paid, because I bet they were actually shooting on thermal like film or something.
They could have been. They could have been.
I would not put it past them that they were shooting, actually using
the real
stuff, cameras,
which probably didn't translate very well into film.
Maybe thermal goggles didn't exist at this time, but like it's very possible that they actually were using thermal cameras, which couldn't have been cheap. It looked cheap, I get it. The wireframe computer models they were using took me way back to Escape from New York, which is another Carpenter film. But that movie held together with duct tape and a prayer, which made it awesome. Like it was like this movie cost so little, but they got so much out of it. I mean, the limo with the chandeliers up front. I mean, just that movie. But the pace of that is so languid compared to like action movies today. Like Escape from New York, as glorious as it is, the pacing doesn't hold up, and that's the thing. This movie's pacing is glacial.
It is
glacial.
And I will say, right after like the scene of them running around, and we actually get it's Chevy Chase, but you can't see him. But right in the very beginning, right in the very beginning, when you see him like coming out and he's filming some sort of tape, he's doing something.
We see a chair moving around. It's like, oh my gosh, is this whole movie going to be like things moving?
Well, I was like, they have to show Chevy Chase.
It's all on dollies and like.
You're looking at a chair because I'm sitting in it.
strings, and I'm just like, oh gosh,
But
they're
I
gonna
was
Pinocchio this whole movie.
I was like, okay, there's a pencil, and then all of a sudden he did the bubble gum thing, and I was like, okay, this is that's a cool
The
way.
gum, I was like, that's awesome.
I was like, that's a cool way to open up a film, and I was starting to get my hopes up. I was starting to get my hopes up a little bit. So I was like, well, they're gonna show Chevy Chase, maybe, and I knew from the beginning, I'm like, they're obviously starting at like close to the end, and then going to tell the story. So yeah, I had high hopes. But
so it looks like Nick is some kind of like investment banker, stockbroker type of dude,
businessman,
specializing in energy markets? Because they keep talking about OPEC and shale and all this other stuff, and I'm just like, okay, so he's in energies. I guess.
I was like, what does he actually do? Is he a salesman?
He's a stockbroker, so he basically buys and sells stocks, and the goal is to obviously get into emerging markets. That's why he's going to things like these lectures, because he wants to be in on the ground floor if there's new tech, to make sure that they invest in it. Now, obviously, that was his coworker's specialty, not his. So, but he was going there as a favor. We'll get there. But anyway, so it's one of those things where this was back before the internet, and the whole thing was basically just make as much money as quickly as possible. It was actually, you want to get on the ground floor, make your money, get out. Whereas now it's like so much quicker. So there's no going to lectures. It's basically like guess, conjecture, still get in early, but like, get out. Anyway. But he's apparently been successful enough because he's too busy booking a trip to Aspen to put much effort into his job and leaving early to go to the club. He has no family or relatives. He makes it pretty clear that he's got nobody really. And then at the club, he meets Daryl Hannah's character,
which is so funny too because they do that. It's typical '90s to me. Just see him and like, oh, I must have you, like one of those like, you will be mine.
I feel like it's kind of classic Hollywood. Like the guy's like, I guess I'll come meet this person, and then walks to the room, and they're literally glowing. Like, I don't know what lights they put on her, and like they dyed her hair white, it feels like. I mean, she's so blonde. It's crazy. Like, platinum. Like, I knew Daryl Hannah was a blonde, but this is just like, this is nuts. Yeah. And like, I don't know what, like, literally she's almost twinkling. Like, they almost put glitter in her hair or something, or like flare lights, or I don't know. J.J. Abrams like directed her hair. Anyway. And he just, they're like, oh, all right. I'm happy to be here now. But they hit it off big time, make out for a while, but she has to leave to meet someone. And then Nick hits the drinks hard enough that he has a huge hangover at the lecture he promised to attend the next morning.
Oh, man. Yeah. So he stumbles in late, right? The lecture's already going on. And he's like falling asleep. And you can tell he just doesn't care, which shows he's that type of guy, like in the movie. He just doesn't seem to have a care in the world. Hungover, so then what does he do? He goes to a sauna, a steam room.
It's a sauna because it looks like one you can throw the rocks on. So I will not. It's called a sauna. It's not a real one. But yeah, he wanders around. He finds like this executive office because he asks where the restroom is at this like. The lab is like right there open where you can walk by it to get to the restroom. They're just like, yeah, keep on going to the restroom. Like, isn't this a top secret like facility? Yeah. Like a top secret work? And they're just like, yeah, restroom right down the way.
Is there a men's room around here?
Yeah, it's just down the hall there.
And then he, like in gesturing, he knocks coffee on his keyboard.
And I love how it's just on the keyboard and all of a sudden it's like, and then everything's on fire.
I think it started leaking into the machine, like around the keyboard, because this is like 80s like computers where the whole room is the computer, and so like the keyboard's actually like on top of the whatever the mechanism. It didn't really get an idea that they were researching like they didn't show a particle accelerator or like any kind of reactor.
It was literally just like people in white coats with computers and like electronics all around, but there's no. Like, at least like a floating atom or something they were trying to do.
In the middle of the room, like a canister that like would be the thing that would explode and incite the thing.
Yeah, what's his name from Power Rangers? Zed, like the talking head or whatever. Like have one of those. Like
have to go there. I mean, literally just have a canister like that looks kind of sinister in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can't afford a hologram with everything else you're doing in this movie, but
like
yeah, what's going to blow up and do this thing?
You could have honestly gotten a tube and shown a light on it and it'd been like, oh, okay, that's some sort of energy thing or something.
Or you have lasers in this movie. Just take one of those lasers and have it go across like some fog in a tube in the middle of the room. Like pump some fog in the tube, have the laser going through it, and we know that there's a thing.
There's something.
It's going to blow up and do this.
Yeah.
So anyway, he walks past, he gets into this executive office where there's a wall. The door has a floor top of the door mirror. Like it's completely mirrored.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Why would you have that in your office unless I guess you really want to look at yourself at your
guess.
desk? But anyway, there's also the steam room thing off to the side, and he's like, all right. And he goes in there, lays down.
In someone else's office, and he's still trying to find the bathroom.
I'm
so
you're gonna pee yourself, dude.
Yeah,
Like, you have to go that bad.
I wouldn't want to go into the steam room before.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It wouldn't be relaxing. Like,
no. And then he's like wanting to fall asleep.
I wouldn't be able to sleep.
Yeah, I would be like, I have to go to the bathroom.
Right. It's weird. So anyway, so he passes out, and then everything starts sparking and whatever, and then alarms go off, and everyone leaves, and then there's like, you get the idea there's like an explosion.
Yeah.
But it cuts to white and goes to Congress, where Sam Neill is being grilled in a congressional hearing for apparently throwing a couple people off roofs in Honduras and maybe some other places. So we're like, oh, cool, antagonist.
Yeah.
And he gets like the whole guy coming up and whispering something to him and like basically like, could you repeat your question? Like he doesn't care. He knows he's gonna get out of there just fine. And
which I
whatever.
will say, he does make a pretty good villain.
Oh, he's a great villain.
Like,
absolutely,
he makes a very good villain. But I understand why they had that shot, but I really don't understand why they had that shot. Like just to that whole scene of him is it literally just to be like, he's the bad guy? He doesn't care about people's lives.
You know that he will
do whatever.
He'll do whatever it takes. It's raising the stakes and letting you know who this guy is. That he is basically a CIA operative who is going to. He will kill people.
He just goes rogue. Like he's
will
more of a rogue.
He will directly kill people regardless of the consequences or what Congress thinks.
I was just like, what would Congress do with a rogue CIA operative or like someone who like doesn't care about? I don't know. I guess there could be multiple reasons why that realized off the top of my head.
As he gets more power hungry, as we see later.
Yeah.
But I like that his codename is Scorpion. I'm like, well, that lets us know who this guy is if his codename is Scorpion. Definitely not Dr. Alan Grant.
No.
Yeah. It's back.
I know.
It's back.
I'm excited.
Anyway, the building looks like an abstract sculpture at this point, and so like,
which was a pretty cool effect. That was pretty cool, and I'm glad that
it's only a model.
Well, yeah, but still. But I'm glad that
it's so obviously a model. It's hilarious.
And then the fact that they're like walking through and they
even
realize
when they're running out of the building, I mean, it's just so forced perspective. It looks so wonky. It's charming. It's charming. It is like it's just like that building just doesn't quite look right, and I kind of love it because. Why didn't you just find an office building in the middle of nowhere? Like, I'll be so sad if that was actually a real building and like they actually. I don't know. Because it seems like the close-ups they were at a real place. It didn't look quite right or quite real in the far shots.
But I just thought it was a cool thing that they actually described that. Everything was still there. It was literally just invisible.
Right, and they bumped into like invisible
they
walls.
Bumped into
There's
things.
Really good physical acting of like pretending to bump into things.
Yeah.
You may come in contact with invisible surfaces.
Like I was pleasantly surprised that it actually like kind of worked.
Yeah, and I was happy with that. And I was like, okay, so is there really something there? Like, do they have a fake? It's good acting. All right.
Yeah.
And then even down to the point when Chevy Chase is walking around and he doesn't even know. Like, he woke up from his sauna and he's put it on the hat, and then there's bystanders that are just watching him.
And they see this hat float around.
That was pretty funny. I did it. Well, like even like the chair scoot and then a hat float around.
And the phone and like.
And at
whatever.
first I was like, are they going to be able to hear him? So I was like, what if they couldn't hear him? What if it was like your vocal cords are invisible, so your sound is invisible? I don't know. I guess it would still be there, but.
Don't think too hard about it.
I know.
If your molecules are scrambled, how are you not phasing through things?
It's
like
true.
if they're so scrambled you're invisible, how can you not just walk through walls?
And then I was like, well, what were they working on? Were they working on something to make things invisible, or was this just happenstance?
I got the idea that this had
energy
nothing to do
went
with what
wrong,
they were
and
working
it
on.
just
because like the scientist later says that this had nothing to do
true.
with what we were doing. Like this is a total.
And he didn't know
freak.
how to revert it. That's right.
Because
I forgot about that.
they were in no way working towards what happened.
But it's like, they were working on energy. I guess it's just energy.
But it's like, they were working
whatever.
on energy and like microwaves or something like scrambled like his molecules and like he was being nuked but in such a way he went invisible instead of just dissolving or whatever into evaporation. I like how the building looks like an abstract sculpture though. That's really cool looking.
Was neat,
it's like an MC Escher kind of painting or something. And the masked gunman, like there's a guy like like they're wearing hazmat suits, but one guy's wearing like this black mask.
Yeah,
and I'm
I
like,
saw
that's
that.
really crazy.
I was like, what are you doing?
And you only see that guy once.
Yeah.
I was like, that's creepy. That's
Extra
like a Marvel villain or something. Like,
Extra showed up and
it was like Hydra agent or something. I was just like, what? What is this? And you never see the guy again. I'm like, that is creepily effective. Like if you had like a whole like SS squad like of that would be
effective. I'd back away immediately.
Throw the goggles on there. It's just like that would. Oof. Anyway, but then there's a person speaking over the loudspeaker that sounds a lot like Peter Weller from RoboCop. I had to look it up and see like if they credited the person who did the voice because it sounded too much like, "Don't move or there will be trouble."
Come quietly or there will be trouble. While the building has the appearance of having been severely damaged, we have found no debris.
Like it just sounded way too much like Peter Weller. But it helpfully goes over exactly what we're seeing. Like, attention, the walls are invisible, but are still there. And
be careful where you,
I'm just like, okay, who is this for? And like, why are you broadcasting this to anyone in a 5-mile radius? Like, I'm just like, this is really loud.
Going down the streets eating at McDonald's, like, what's going on over there?
Like, why aren't we just hearing someone's comm headset? Like,
True.
I mean, what happened to covert? Like, why aren't we just hearing like the broadcast where they're like, "Hey guys, watch out! Some of the walls are still there," and then boom, like guy walks in the wall. Like, why is it the whole loudspeaker thing?
I don't know, but I mean, I guess like when they did the shots, the building looked like it was out in the middle of nowhere, kind of.
It did, but
even still, I agree with you. I know.
You think there'd be like a whole bunch of looky-loos like
Well,
outside like the perimeter?
Yeah.
Like depending on how wide you put the perimeter, but.
Yeah.
I guess if you closed off the road going up to this middle of nowhere place, I guess you could keep people at a wide enough range, but
still,
you don't want to count on it.
You still wouldn't want to broadcast everything that's going on, like you said.
But speaking of broadcast, Nick broadcasts his position by putting on the hat. Everyone sees it, and then he's banging on the windows, begging them to help, and you hear the thunk, thunk, thunk of the window, but they don't see anything.
And his voice is muffled, which I did appreciate.
Yes.
Like he's contained. You can tell he's contained in a building of some sort.
That glass would have to be thick enough. They would not hear the thunk, thunk, thunk.
Yeah.
And they would not hear his voice in any way whatsoever.
And there was a lot of moving people, so you think that would drown out the sound. Like a lot of...
Yes.
Yeah. Noise pollution, you wouldn't be able to hear that.
I feel like everyone got real quiet when they realized
That's
they were...
True. Well, I mean, I would get real quiet if I saw a floating hat also. Like...
What? Yeah. So then he... does he just leave?
I think so. Well, it's funny because like...
They don't talk about like him finding the stairwell.
No, he knocks.
Like,
he gets knocked out.
Oh, that's right. They carry him out.
They
get in there. They find him. They carry him out. That's right. And like, so he's got the blanket over him, and then he sits up, and that's kind of a cool effect of the blanket, kind of like in a human shape. But then,
when he runs away, and I made note of this, when he runs away, it's like the blanket flies off this way. I'm like, whoa, how did he actually do that? Like, if you're getting off of a gurney, you don't just like feet first go flying. Like feet.
Yeah,
that's what I saw.
If you think about it too hard, it doesn't hold up. Now keep in mind, the only clothes that are invisible are going to be what he was turned invisible in, which I like that they kept that consistent. The shoes, the socks, the whatever pants, whatever he's under the pants, the shirt, the jacket,
everything. And I love the fact
anything else he puts on, he's gonna be seen.
And he can't see them either, which I'm glad that they pointed that out, because you know what I mean. It could be like, oh well, he really can't see his hands.
However, he gets to his apartment and he's famished, so he eats. And the Chinese food, he says he can't see his hands, so he has trouble with the chopstick, which has nothing to do with anything.
But so I pointed that out also, and I was like, I feel like I could still be able to eat.
You can still find your mouth.
I would still be able to find your mouth.
You don't look at your mouth when you put food in it.
But it's weird because with your peripheral vision, you do see your hand going up to your mouth. Because I was doing this, and I was like, I do see my hand, so I wonder how it would be if I could not see my hand.
You could see the utensil.
You could see the food.
You could see the utensil in the food.
So...
It's stupid.
I don't know.
I felt insulted by it. I'm like, so this is we're going to have Chevy, this is going to be comedic gold. You can't do the chopsticks because for some reason you lost the ability with not being able to see your hands, because we all know if you're competent with chopsticks, you're competent because you can see your hands. And so then you're going to have to grab the tongs and you're just going to shove it in your face because you don't know where your food hole is, because... Yeah,
that could have been them trying, like you said, to make Chevy Chase have his little comedic shtick in there for some reason. I don't know.
It's too silly an idea for it to be a serious movie, and they just play it way too. They play too serious, but not serious enough. I don't know
how they missed the mark.
They briefly have like an existential crisis of like, what if I just totally go like evaporate into
Yeah.
nothing, or like they have brief existentialism, and then it's like, nope, he's just invisible. He's going to be invisible forever, and it's fine.
Well, and then the other thing too about it is I hate the fact until like even the very end he doesn't do it very well.
Mhm.
I want to be like, you're invisible. Run away. Stay away from people. They'll never. Why are you running away from like this person? Just stand still in one spot, and they'll probably think that you're running away because they can't see you.
Well, they also,
I would just follow behind the people.
They're also well. The other thing is they're also very inconsistent with the thermal goggles. Like those would be incredibly effective, and almost no one has them.
That's true. That is true. But
Like it's the only way you can see him. They have a van driving around with these cameras. They have some people that have the headsets, like snipers and stuff, but you can't snipe using those goggles.
No.
Like you said, the resolution's terrible. How are you going to look through the scope?
I don't know. And I would still just follow behind somebody, even though maybe they might see like two people walking. When they look up, they could be like, oh, it's a glare or something. I just feel like there'd be, if when you're invisible, there'd be an easier way to get away. And I feel like Chevy Chase is like, I don't know what to do. Well, they're after me. They're talking to me, and so I have to stay here and answer all their questions.
I mean, I think he's still trying to figure everything out, but
which is true. I'd be freaking out, but at the same point, I'm just like, and I'm sure that he forgets that he's invisible sometimes, because probably doesn't. Yeah.
But it's so recent. I don't think he's
It's
had
so
time. I haven't had time to forget that I'm invisible yet. I feel like eventually you'd get sloppy and take it for granted that you're,
Yeah.
But anyway, so he wakes up the next day, and he has some messages and stuff, and one of them is from the Sam Neill character, who's basically discovered who he is because he signed the guest register when he came in to that conference thing. And so they're already there to go get him. They got a sniper on the roof. They got people coming up. They're talking about be sure you get the headshot, and it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was funny too, because Sam Neill's character said that he is the single most important asset that they've ever had. And I feel like it's because they want to turn him into like a CIA agent or like do something in terms of that, be able to get secrets from people. But then all of a sudden they start showing up with guns, and I was like, so wait, what?
It's like, are they going to test him? Because they talk about like basically having to anal probe him and stuff for like the rest of his life and things, and it's just like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And so are they going to do tests on him? Are they going to try to like convert him to be a CIA agent? Like, if you want to be an agent, you should be like coddling him and
exactly. I'd be like,
wine
dude,
and dine and like
I can help
whatever,
you out. I can make
like, this
transition easier for you. Let me show you the ways. Oh, by the way, you can sneak
like literally,
into...
I'm willing to pay you X amount a year to become a spy for me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it becomes a spy movie where he gradually realizes that, oh, this guy's bad news, and he wants me to actually be like an assassin and stuff. And I thought I was just going to kind of eavesdrop and
just report back, like just stand, witness,
now it's him trying to escape from being a spy or something, and that would have been a more fun, serious movie.
And then he has kids, and turns into the Spy Kid franchise, and
anyway,
it could have gone somewhere. Like I feel like they cut all of the character storylines. Are you trying to
kill him? Are you trying to capture him? Are you trying to make him a spy and convert him? Like, you're all over the place with your motivations.
They really are.
And because basically that's going up there like, yeah, gotta get the headshot. And the guy has like these tanks and like some kind of weird thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is that like a cattle gun? Like Anton Chigurh, like the Javier Bardem character in No Country for Old Men.
Yep.
And I thought he was going to like bust the lock with it. I'm like, that's awesome. Before even that book or movie, I'm like, that is so cool. They're going to do that. And no, they kick down the door and it's actually spray paint.
Yeah.
Because they start spraying it and I'm like, I thought it was like fog, like smoke or something. And I'm like, no, it's red paint.
No, I will say right before this, I literally was talking to myself and just went, I would just take a spray paint gun and just spray everything because a piece would have to land on him.
I thought
And then right when that happened, I was like, oh, okay.
I was thinking smoke machine or something, but
yeah. But I still thought it was weird. I was like, you're just destroying this man's house. And plus, one single thing of paint, like, he could squat and you're, like, going over him.
Laying on the couch. I guess you see the indent, technically. But anyway, so he's, like, out there, but they accidentally knock him off the thing and don't notice.
Yeah.
He silently grabs and is able to hang on. And then they start stepping on his foot. And I'm like, what? Looney Tunes, like, I don't know, somehow he's able to climb up. He's a stockbroker. He can't do that.
It was very cartoonish, slapstick type, like Chevy Chase trying to hold back his pain as he's being stepped on while he's hanging on a banister. And it was very Chevy Chase, like, trying to be funny, but they missed it.
It's a cool spiral staircase, so it's cool you get to see a cool interior, I guess. But anyway, he gets downstairs, and he sees Sam Neill and, like, the guy are out there. and they're way too suspicious, like, already. And then he starts ringing a doorbell. They're on a San Francisco street sidewalk, outside this, like 10 feet outside this door.
Yeah.
And somehow they're hearing the buzz, and or seeing, like, could they really see the doorbell going in? Like, was it really obvious that he was pushing,
I
a
feel
button
like
was being pushed?
no, I feel like what it was he got into a car. There was something.
No,
right?
that was later.
Oh,
For that old
I
lady's
thought they
apartment.
saw-
Like, he was ringing the bell, like
Okay.
asking her, wanting her to answer so he could, like, sneak past
He
her.
could sneak past.
And so they realized that he was
That's
ringing the
right.
bell. She opened the door, and he's just like, okay, forget it. It's the nice grandma from the hip hop hippie
Yeah.
from
Such a nice young man, that Mr. Holloway.
Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
Nick seemed like such a nice guy. And I'm like, oh, it's the rapping granny. Well, no, it wasn't rapping granny.
It was the meatball, right? Wasn't she the piano? Wasn't he teaching her piano lessons
Oh, no, it must
from the Wedding Singer?
It was one of the 90s grandmas.
Yeah.
It was one of the 90s grandmas that you had, like, the funny grandma who would either say something inappropriate or whatever.
Yeah.
You know her if you saw her. Anyway, so he knocks her right over. I'm like, I hope that was a stunt person, because she would have broken something, because she took a big spill. Anyway, and and she's like, I must have fallen down or something.
Yeah, she's just like totally oblivious.
You didn't feel the guy
Oh.
run into you? Like, anyway, so he runs out. He gets caught in laundry. They shoot a glass out with the dart. And
Yet again, how is he running with the sheet over his face, like just running around?
I don't know.
And
It's fun ideas and effects of, like, how can we make the guy visible, like,
I
or
understand.
indoor without having to do massive.
You don't
want
want to just be filming nothing and being like, oh, look, he's fighting. Like,
Look, we're panning across the hedges.
He's
and
doing really cool
we're-
stuff right
here,
now.
Here are the foley of the grass as, like, we pan through this grass. Like, really, he's there.
I understand that aspect of it, but still, it's just like, you're invisible. Use that. That is like your one big perk that you have when bad men are chasing you. Don't get caught in laundry. Like, I would immediately fling that off, but he's still just running.
I mean, imagine if we were just invisible, like, this whole time, just talking. I mean, that would.
I know. That's what I mean.
Have our lovely, Grindhouse guests in the back to look
I
at.
understand
but-
that, but just for the story plot, I'm just like, if I had a CIA agent either going to kill me or capture me or whatever, you better believe my mind is going to be in overdrive, and I would be trying to use whatever power that I had to the, you know what I mean, to the maximum.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
he still hasn't had a chance to think.
That is true.
Really,
He's kind of constantly been going from the gurney.
But the thing is,
to-
though, he tends to fly by the seat of his pants, and it's worked out for him. He's made tons of money. He's got a member of a nice
That's
tennis
true.
club and stuff. So he's got money going on. So he seems to work well. Anyway, yeah. So he's able to escape somehow,
Mhm.
and he decides to go to the club and figures he can hide out there for a bit at least. But he can't really get any food. Finds that pear and, like, sets it down when people start coming, and then they take the
And
pear.
then they take it away.
It's like, oh man,
It
falls
was-
asleep on the pool table and has a weird dream where he has no crotch.
When he was on the pool table, I was like, see, there you go, Chevy Chase. That's the perfect place for an invisible man. You can see when people come before they're about ready to play pool. You can get down. No one's gonna think to, like, pat the pool table or
True, yeah.
run into it. Perfect. I thought he was getting his wits about him then, but no, he
Well,
wasn't.
he woke up in the vacuum, yeah. Because he had a dream, like, where Daryl Hannah, like, he's like, everything's good. Like, he's dreaming about all the stuff that he's gonna miss out on. And then he takes off his bathrobe to get down with Daryl, and yeah, his groin's invisible.
And that was a funny, like,
it was kind
I
of
was
funny.
like, okay,
And then
that's
Sam Neill's there, like, holding her hostage kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, it's a nightmare. All right.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's funny. That
It's
was a
kinda
funny one.
Yeah.
But
But anyway, yeah. So he wakes up and he decides he just can't stay at the club.
mhm.
So he decides to go to Michael McKean his friend George's house, who introduced him to Daryl Hannah. Order some groceries, like a bunch of clear foods. What's the clearest bouillon?
I
cube?
know.
And just because when he ate the Chinese food,
You could
see everything, and that was pretty.
That was a cool effect. That was
pretty
a cool effect. There's another one with
The
him
throat
smoking.
was like, is he eating blood?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Well, and
What
then the
is
other one
that?
when he's smoking a cigarette, which happens a little bit later, but that was a cool effect too, where you
Yeah.
can see everything.
No, that's what this movie, like, basically was
Yeah.
to me. Like,
Well, and another thing that I didn't realize is more eye-opening for me is I was like, wow, when you are invisible, people really wouldn't accommodate for you, would they? Like when he's walking in the streets and you can see him, like you can see Chevy Chase because obviously you have to see him or else they'd be just filming air. But no one else can. He's invisible. But like people not holding the door open for you or like taking your taxi and like not realizing, you know what I mean? Because
sure.
I was just like, oh,
You couldn't call a taxi.
That would be sad. Like
until you run into a drunk guy, and knock him out and basically
people
move
like
his lips
shoulder
and, like,
checking you, not knowing that was
I forgot,
really
getting
funny.
out to back to like San Francisco or whatever. Yeah,
Him moving the lips,
yeah.
but then I was like, wouldn't the guy notice that like he's not leaning over to open up the car
yeah,
door?
Did you notice how he's literally dragging himself in midair to the taxi? Like, yeah,
I mean, he was trying to be drunk, like he was portraying.
It was kind of clever, and he was able to get to his apartment that way. But it was just one of those things where that's really a hard road to hoe.
Yeah, that
you
was
really have
that
to
was
knock
pretty
someone
funny.
out every time you want a taxi. Like that's not always gonna work.
Nice.
You're only gonna be able to travel in the middle of the night and like hope you can knock this person out and like I don't know. It's not cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, but of course George and Daryl and other
Everyone
people show up. Yeah, Patty Heaton. Which man, Patty Heaton, I mean she was apparently young here, but she seems older here than she did in the middle to me.
Smells like somebody had a fire.
Like her newer show.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is. Like, she seemed like
yeah, I guess
old
so. I never really thought of that.
92.
Yeah.
And she seemed younger than like everyone loves Raymond and like all these other shows. I'm like, what is it? Why does she seem
true.
so like...
Knowing Nick, he probably came here to shack up with somebody's wife.
45 in this show, in this movie. Like, it's weird.
I don't know. I didn't even piece that together, but you're right.
She just felt old.
She did.
Which, good for her.
Yeah,
like,
that's not a bad thing.
And more joie de vivre. Like, I don't know. It's
she found the elixir of life or something.
Something. Like, I don't know. Like, join Scientology? I don't know. I'm just kidding. Hopefully. Anyway. She went clear.
She climbed the...
Speaking of invisible.
Yeah, speaking of invisible.
Anyway. Man, we're going to get flagged if I keep talking about Scientology on this. Anyway. Okay.
I'm gonna come after.
I don't know. Anyway,
oh boy.
So basically, Patty Heaton, Michael McKean, and then some random Euro dude, and Daryl, who I guess they're trying to get them hooked up now. Which I'm like, guys, give Daryl a break.
I know. It's like she can be on her own. Why are you trying to hook her up with so many different people?
Especially because Nick was just a few days ago.
Yeah.
Like, why? Well, Nick's in trouble with the law, so
I did feel
on
bad.
to the next one.
I did feel bad when they were talking about him and he was standing right there, invisibly.
Why? Because he needed to hear that.
I know, but I felt bad because, you know, that's fine if you want to do that, but they're doing it right in front of Daryl's character, which they were just trying to hook him up with. So they're making him look bad in front of the girl that they were just trying to get him with, who obviously he liked at the time. And I was like, bad friends.
I feel like Michael McKean was trying to get Chevy a hookup. And not necessarily a relationship, though.
Oh, well, maybe, but even still. But you could tell that everyone could tell that he liked her. That was pretty obvious when they met up. And I was just like,
and I guess they did hang out for a really long time. And it wasn't like he just, like, they actually were talking.
Yeah, and I was just like, if my friends did that, I'd be like, hey, guys, not cool.
I guess.
It's
I mean,
so sad.
Looking up real quick, and I'm just like, really? Like, I just didn't get any chemistry out of them.
Yeah,
I got, like, I'm supposed to feel like you have chemistry.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So they're talking smack about him around the table.
Call him narcissistic and everything, and it's so weird
it's
because...
It's not untrue.
No, it's true. That is true.
I mean, these are truths he needed to hear.
Yes, but I do
but
find...
it doesn't cause him to change his character at all.
Not really, although I will say I did think it was sweet that Daryl's character, Alice, isn't her name Alice? I think her name's Alice.
It is, something like that. Or
Alice. Yeah. She sticks up for him. She's the only one who sticks up for him, kind of. And she does it in a very...
I mean, she doesn't
gentle way. She's not like, no,
do.
He's mean, like, or no, you're wrong. She doesn't do that. I think it was more like, come on, guys, like one of those.
Like, aren't you his friends?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I thought you were his friends, and and they're like, well, I mean, yeah, but
call a spade, or whatever it was, but
yeah, but I mean.
But yeah, and I thought that was nice. And then of course the whole Nick, if you're here, give us a sign, trying to kid around.
And TV pops on.
The TV pops on, then someone gets pantsed.
Well, no, but the TV pops on, and the guy was like, "Ha I gotcha," like the Euro trash dude. But then he stands up, and Chevy Chase pulls his pants down, and it's just like, that's more than I needed to know, dude.
Well,
anyway.
And then they still don't. They're still just like, oh, that was weird.
Lost some weight?
Yeah. And I was just like, you just asked for a sign, and literally like, your pants don't. when your pants fall down, they don't like it's like a slow thing.
Well, having lost a lot of weight, if you hang on to the clothes too long after you lose weight, they will literally do that.
But he was wearing them before. That's what I mean. So it wasn't.
It's not impossible, Leah, is what I'm saying. It's not.
It has happened.
I mean, I had sweatpants where it was like, oh, okay, well, time to retire these. So I literally have to hold them up to walk around the house and or walk like with my legs 20 feet apart. Anyway, so they go upstairs.
Yeah.
And Eurotrash dude kind of wants to hang out with Daryl.
Yes.
Daryl's not having any of it. She's like, no, I'm good.
And I felt bad for her. She told him no politely.
Yeah,
like
she let him down
10
real
times.
easy.
Yeah,
real
it wasn't just like,
real
no,
easy.
get out. It was like, oh no, I think I'm actually really tired. Have a good night.
Like, he comes up with a drink and he kind of lets himself into the room.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude,
I was
where's
like,
your chill, man?
Yeah, it was very cringe. I mean, it was just.
Yeah, take a hint, man.
Yeah. Although Chevy Chase's character was going to just sit in there and watch her too.
Yeah,
so I was kind of
start to take her shirt off. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's not great, man.
But mind you, she does call him on it, so.
Yeah, later. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, but then, so then he jumps her and then Chevy Chase grabs him and throws him off her.
Which I thought that was really funny. The European guy was just like, oh, and like that's what made him leave. And later on.
Don't tell anyone I cried.
Yeah.
Because he started crying about like his wife leaving him, and I'm just like, you're awful, dude.
Yeah.
You're the worst.
Well,
like what?
Afterwards, I mean, might be a few minutes along, but when he's talking to his friend, and he just goes, she's as strong as an ox or something.
Oh, I'm not worried about her. She's strong as an ox. Like, she can handle herself.
But it made it seem like that's the reason why he left. Like, he didn't like the fact that she was stronger than him. Like, with that statement. I don't know why I got that.
No, I think it was just like, I was going to basically assault her, and she literally, like, was laying down and threw me off her across the room. She's going to be fine. Like... I think it was just like, and he was not a small dude.
No,
so,
he wasn't.
Like, the fact that like she did that was just him, just like.
I just felt like he said it with so much disdain, which it could have been because of the rejection in general, but it just like she's strong as an ox.
I got the idea that it was just like he was just remembering being tossed off her like
still
like
flabbergasted.
A rag doll, and just like, no, she's strong as an ox. I got it more along lines of like mad respect at like she's okay there.
Yeah,
like,
it could be.
Anyway, so he then decides this. I'm trying to remember what he does at this point.
Well, this is when he fesses up to Daryl. Like Daryl knows that he's there. They end up talking.
Well, no, but he tells her he's at a house down the beach.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. They meet up. Like this is the part where Daryl and
he's already done the tennis against the wall, like where he's wearing the tennis togs and he's running on the beach.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause I forgot he's kind of trying to build his new life. His whole idea is to basically he can be a stockbroker from anywhere. He just needs a phone and a fax machine. And I'm like, man, this is so 1992. It hurts.
And then that's the other thing too, when they're running on the beach and like you just see his clothes and not him. There's people around and nobody.
Well, the guy's fishing. He's too busy fishing.
But
off the beach.
I would still be like, you're invisible. You're telling people exactly where you are. Like, if somebody even
I saw clothes running on the beach.
Yeah, if somebody even caught a glimpse of that and they call the police.
You telling me there's not someone taking pictures on the beach or the camera?
But I was like, obviously, Sam Neill's character is going to find out if you're out there running around with clothes. You have invisible clothes. Run around in them if you want.
That was a money shot.
I would run around naked all the time. Nobody would be able to tell or whatever. You know what I mean? If you can't find your invisible clothes. Nobody knows.
Yeah. I do like that when they came over to the house and he was wearing like the guy's like tracksuit or whatever, he had to strip it off and he was naked because he didn't have his suit underneath it. So it's like you see him, but he's like covering himself up. That was pretty funny when the George and them show up. And it's like, oh, so I love the firm rules that those only clothes that he can wear if he's gonna wear clothes, which I wish they would have done more like Die Hard style, that he needed to remember his shoes, like, and then like he's leaving bloody footprints. That would have been too much, like for like. That would have been more action movie and like a Die Hard ripoff. But that's literally like if he forgot his invisible shoes.
Well, I was thinking that too because I was like, man, I would invest in quieter shoes because you can hear them like clicking down the hallway. And I was like, but there's only shoes. Yeah, I realized that. And then I was just like, well, what about socks? And then I thought the same thing as you did. I was just like, well, what if he cut himself? Then
like that would be wild. Like that would have been really interesting. Like,
and like, is his blood invisible? Because you can see his lungs. Like when he eats,
You can see the smoke in his lungs.
That's what I mean.
You can see the food in his stomach.
But you can't see his blood. So then is his blood invisible?
Yes. Anything that was with him when he got hit with whatever rays or whatever is invisible. The clothes, the blood, every part of his body. But anything he puts into his body or on his body after that becomes visible until it's incorporated into his body.
So I guess if he did run around barefoot, I mean, it might hurt him, but you wouldn't be able to see the blood.
Going off those rules, though, all the vitamins, nutrients, minerals, protein, everything he
would
ingests
still be floating around
would eventually constitute muscle and fat and things like that. Gradually, I think he'd gradually build back in a visible body.
Yeah.
If you're going off the rules of like anything that he comes in contact with, like clothes or whatever, technically the food rebuilding his body and skin and everything else would then be visible. But
and that was something else. I guess we can talk about this at the end of it, but while we're on this subject, the building itself, when it was like partially invisible, partially not, and then it glitched out, and then it turned invisible.
Completely invisible.
That didn't happen to Chevy Chase's character. And at first I was thinking like, oh, he's going to glitch out and just like dissipate or like be gone.
Well,
from the world.
It just went from being partially visible to completely invisible. I don't get the idea of the building just like whatever.
See,
it
at
just
first,
went completely invisible.
I thought it was like, because it looked like there was like a beam of light going through the building when it was whatever.
It was doing very bad VFX sparkles.
Well, I thought it was like wherever it hit turned invisible. So like the ray of energy didn't hit specific parts of the building. That's what I liked about it kind of being.
Right.
But then when it glitched out and it all turned invisible, I was just like, okay, why put that there if nothing's going to happen to Chevy Chase's character?
You think that would be like something that'd be like analogous, that it happened faster to the building because it's bigger. Whatever happened to that building, it's just happening to Chevy Chase in a smaller, slower scale. They could have done something like that. Like the building is so much mass that, you know, it's just going to happen to you. It's going to take you 10 years instead of the, you know, minutes or hours that it took the building.
I was expecting them to do that. Like I was expecting them to.
If like it imploded or something like that. The problem is you couldn't tell what happened. It just went all invisible, which is that you have to literally have the building is now nothingness.
Well, you could have just seen
you have to have the announcer
like it like almost collapse and like the.
Or like implode, like like implode like a singularity or something, or some other effect that would imply like destruction versus just, oh, now it's just all invisible.
Yeah.
So just the idea of like, well, okay, so Chevy's invisible, which he already was, so that it does nothing. I don't know why you'd show that other than
it's true.
Guessing if that's going to be like his fate, like he's going to be nothingness. Like, I don't know. It's the, so he decides to finally tell Daryl he's there, Alice. And so he calls her, has her come over to this house that he is at down the beach, which he's broken and entered into, or is this one of those things where it's like
they never
coastal Canada, where it's like we leave the doors unlocked here?
Yeah, they never really mentioned that whole like.
It's just convenient that he's able to just.
Well, and then like he invites some random girl over too, which people can see, so she's entering the house. So wouldn't she be like entering? She would be liable because no one can see him.
I mean, the prints are all over the place. I mean, at least hers are.
Yeah.
I don't know, does he leave fingerprints?
I don't know. That's what I mean.
They don't really need that, I guess. So
But this is where we get the creepy scene. Like, obviously, he's confessing.
But he's got, like, the wraps around his head. And so it's the classic Invisible Man.
Which I honestly thought Hollow Man. I was like...
Oh, Hollow Man.
Yeah.
It's a glorious mess. Anyway.
But, yeah, he's standing there and he takes him off. And she actually seems to keep her composure pretty well.
I mean, she holds off fainting for a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would immediately just scream and run. Or I don't know. It
depends on who it is.
But like she hardly knows him. Like they shared like one night together.
They had an instant connection.
Well,
I mean, don't undersell the instant connection.
Even still, I would instantly run away. But yeah. But and then we get the weird. I mean, this is when we see the smoke fill up his lungs.
Smoking, and they're going over.
But then she's just like, "I'll put makeup on you."
And they bought all the makeup.
And and like this is not just like a little makeup. This is like a caked on.
Oh, Nick, you have a face again.
Right, eyes and teeth.
Makeup job. And I love how she's like, I can see your face.
And
but
it's so wonderful. And he has no eyeballs, no teeth.
And it's a weird, it's very weird. And even when he smiles, that was like a cool effect. But I was just like, what do you mean he looks so nice? You can see his face. You just painted on his face. You could have made him have any...
1992, Leah. Terminator 2 the year before. Jurassic Park the year after. I mean, this movie these effects are insane for 1992.
I understand.
I
yeah.
mean, it's a big, hairy deal. I mean, if we're going to give the movie some respect.
Oh, no, it definitely gets respect on that. I meant her.
A tip of the hat to the VFX artists on this movie.
But with the effects, great. But with the actual spoken word, they don't go hand in hand. I just don't understand. She's like,
no, these effects are wasted on this movie.
Yeah, I just don't understand. She's like, I can see your face. Oh, you have such a nice face or nice lips. And I'm like, you just put lips that you could have made his lips blue if you wanted to.
Daryl needs better standards because this guy is not winning me over. And I don't understand why she's just all over his.
I don't understand
grill.
either.
It's weird.
I mean,
and like, so she dresses him up with like an Elvis wig and goggles to go out to a nice restaurant. And of course, he immediately like wipes his mouth and his teeth are just. That was
cool. That was really cool. And what did he call himself? Like the dead Elvis, or Elvis has been found, or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't really get it until I saw him. Like, he does kind of look like a real pallid,
he looks like a
gross Elvis.
Yeah, like a pilot Elvis.
And it's a fun like makeup effect where you didn't have to have like the CGI, like where you have like caked on makeup and some prosthetics on him.
Yeah.
To make it look like he's like kind of made up, and it's kind of a janky, weird makeup job.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun and funny in that regard. I like that's a different take on it. It's just, I don't know. And immediately like have to go.
Well, and this is when Chase, which did kind of hit me in the feels a little bit when he was like, I didn't realize how nice it is to be acknowledged.
How important it was to be seen.
Yeah,
like
how
that.
important it was to
be
seen.
But that feels like it's from the novel this is based on. Like this is the heart stuff like in the novel that they, because like I read reviews of the novel and I'm like, forget the movie. This novel's amazing.
Oh, really?
And it's like,
probably more internal dialogue.
Well, it's more along the lines of like there's no baggage, and it's like it's written like a pulp noir thriller like kind of thing where it works. Like this feels like it's supposed to be a throwback, but then it's like, well, we got to also have the screwball Chevy Chase stuff, and it just didn't. It could find a tone.
Yeah,
like, go full on like Bogart then. Like go full on Raymond Chandler.
The weird thing is I feel like this movie is under horror, but it's not really horror.
I mean, it's not really everything that happens to him.
It's not really action. It's not really thriller.
It's kind of a romance.
It's kind of a romance, like a rom-com, but I don't think it was supposed to be a comedy.
And the romance is like.
And yeah,
I don't get I don't want these two kids to be together forever.
They really don't. And I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, Chevy Chase but like some people have like good on-screen chemistry, and they don't seem to have it.
I mean, like I really love his chemistry with Beverly D'Angelo in the Vacation movies.
Yeah.
Like that chemistry works so well. Like Chase is capable of having chemistry with a female co-star.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that. Just sometimes just two people don't. And I thought that's why they had screen
I just don't buy him as a single Lothario. Like that's the part of the problem. Like I buy him as a married dude with a family.
Yeah.
Like it's in crazy situations. Like I don't want him to be typecast like that, but I just don't buy him as the single Lothario. And maybe in real life he was, but I just...
And I feel like he could do that if he, I don't know, if he like changed his humor a little bit. Like he still seems to have that Family Guy humor.
And he like makes a joke about their kids being invisible. And I'm just like, dude, way too soon.
This is your second date. What are you
doing? Dude, you barely know this woman. She barely knows you.
She seems
you don't make the invisible kid jokes.
She seems to be into it, so I guess.
But dang,
different strokes for different folks. But yeah, I would be the same way. I'd be like, what? Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, so they go to get train tickets, but they have like a night to kill, so they go get it on. So everything's working. His groin's invisible, but still functional.
Still
good
fine.
For him.
Yeah, good job.
She was very happy about it, and everything's cool.
And then they decide to get on the train.
Yeah.
Which, in my eyes, and I wasn't screaming at the TV, but at the same time, I'm just like, well, they know that you are with her, so now she's not invisible, so you're super easy to track now.
And the train's like, there's no easily getting off the train.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like a subway where you can get off onto a crowded station.
You are literally trapping yourself. It's the same way in a horror film when people run upstairs. I'm just like, why are you going upstairs?
Why not just take the coastal submarine and trap yourself in a tube underwater?
Yeah, like, what are you doing? I don't...
It's like a throwback to like a Hitchcockian, like the strangers on a train and like whatever. And I'm just like, it's so dumb. And maybe it was in the book, but don't do it.
Yeah, it's really. And then, I mean, train, yada, yada, yada.
They find out he's on there. They get
find
on there.
him.
He's running through. Now, good physical comedy acting when he's like running through the cars and people are getting hit and they have to pretend like they're getting hit and falling over.
That's
like,
funny. Yeah.
Really good,
Yeah,
like
that
stunt
was great.
acting, like
Yeah.
physical acting with all that, because that can't be easy to pretend you just got hit by a guy
Yeah.
and like fling yourself backwards in a way that looks like I buy
Agreed.
that they got hit by somebody. Like,
Agreed. They did that very well. But then all of a sudden you see him running through, comes to the end of the train.
he got hit by a dart. He got shot by one of the trank darts.
Yeah.
But like it took him forever because he's tough and macho, so he didn't immediately like fall. Because that guy that got shot in the neck when he was like running away with the sheet, like immediately.
Which wouldn't you see like the liquid of the dart going through him too?
No, but they would have if they were going for that. They were actually just going
Well,
we're seeing Chevy Chase run around.
Unless it was invisible liquid too. I mean, it could have been clear.
Could have been if it was clear liquid.
Yeah.
Apparently clear liquid.
But when you see like the waviness, like a
And I will say, well, they were waiting for the train, the raining.
that was cool too.
I get serious
forgot about
2003
that.
Daredevil vibes.
I did too. I said the
was
exact same
no.
thing. I was like,
oh, traumatic.
Daredevil.
That movie was so bad.
It was so
that
bad.
was kind of cool that he could see
Yeah,
her in the rain.
it's
and,
raining
like,
and he
that was
could-
kind of pretty and like whatever. But I'm like, he
You're
just looks.
beautiful.
Oh.
I love your translucentness and your sparkly skin. It's like I'm in Twilight all over again.
It's like J.J. Abrams
It's
just filming you
so-
all the time with all the lens flare off of you. It's glorious.
It's so bad.
Something's wrong with my eyes if I'm seeing lens flare, though. Anyway.
But yeah, that was neat. I totally skipped over
It was a
that
cool
paragraph.
effect,
Yeah.
and I can't be too mad at it. That was kind of neat. I like that they thought of these things of just like, here's what would be cool to see
I agree, but at
with
the
the
same
technology
time,
we have.
I feel like they just sort of mashed it all together, and it wasn't.
It was like they pulled the Fast and Furious. They're like, we need to have this stunt, this stunt, this stunt, this stunt,
And then we'll
now
just
make
make
a
it
movie
work in
around
between.
it.
Yeah.
And this was like, well, they had a book, they had a plot that was well received. Otherwise, they wouldn't have like bought the rights and like it wouldn't have been a bestseller and stuff. But then they took nothing about what people liked about the book, or just didn't translate. I just don't know. I have to read the book now because
Yeah.
I just don't. I want to know what was totally missed in translation with this film. Something had to have been.
Yeah, that's gonna have to go on my list too, because it has been kind of eating at me ever since I watched this film. Like I
Right.
don't understand. I don't know. I just don't understand I don't know.
It's just weird. I should love this movie. This movie should be amazing. But it's like they said, okay, we want to see this cool VFX shot, this cool VFX shot, this cool VFX shot. They did those things. They just didn't make a compelling movie around it.
Yeah.
And anyway, so he falls off the train into some water. Somehow he doesn't drown. He has lungs full of water, but he didn't drown.
And thank goodness that you were on a turn with a body of water underneath.
And he fell off the back of the train, not onto the tracks, but off the bridge.
Off the bridge,
'Cause
yeah.
It wasn't a side door. It was like the end of the train
it was the
door.
end. He was at the caboose. He went through, and then somehow he
Fell off and sideways.
fell off. I don't know. And like I said, thank goodness there was a body of water because
And that again, he somehow was able to swallow tons of water and not drown.
and not drown. Yeah, because he was knocked out.
He's like, I coughed up water for whatever.
Unless
and
maybe
it
the
was like,
tranquilizers didn't fully work on him, and he was like semi still.
I don't know. I just kind of
Yeah.
wish they had something where it's like a stick or log was like floating, and they're kind of positing that he was there, and you kind of saw something with the water. But I guess maybe they couldn't do it effect.
No,
Who
well, I
knows?
think that you saw a splash.
You saw a splash, but that was like
That's-
it. Which
yeah.
yay, they put a water cannon under there. Great. Which again, that's fun to like think about. How would you do that stuff? Like, how do you make it look like a splash and without dropping something in? Oh yeah, you have a water
Yeah.
cannon under the thing, and like I mean, that's all kind of fun and cool. To think
Yeah.
of the ways you would accomplish these effects. But if you're thinking more about that than the movie, this movie's an hour and a half. Like it's not 2 hours. This movie felt like it was 2.5 hours.
It did.
Like,
It felt really long.
And that's a problem. Like, you got these guys with awesome guns with laser scope guns. Like, this was still like super futuristic
Yeah.
looking in like 1992. Like, this was way after the Terminator when he had that pistol with the cool laser sight on there. Just guns with lasers was just like, whoa, it was still just like, this is so cool. And it was just boring. Like, I don't know. Anyway.
It was.
So
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so he winds up basically like, okay, I'm gonna give myself up because they have Daryl Hannah's character, Alice, in custody or whatever. And so, okay, you put her in a taxi, send her on her way, and I'll give myself up. And so he's out there with the bandages on, and the phone makes the call. They put her in the taxi. He starts to run off. They catch him. But it's his friend. What? It's George. And I'm just like, there's no way you could have gotten George to do that.
No, I agree.
There's no way that you were in a position to be like, can you like risk your life with this CIA operative?
Well, I mean, I guess they would have to, well, they wouldn't have to let him go, but I mean, they couldn't do tests on him or anything.
He's like, you really don't understand that Sam Neill would really just kill your friend, right? You know he would do this.
Yeah.
Like he's the Scorpion. Like he will,
he's the Scorpion.
He will just kill your friend out of spite and say he resisted arrest.
I mean, he pushed men off buildings. And,
yes, he will literally say like, oh, he hit a bullet, fell down and hit a bullet. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just what he will just do that anyway. But Tobolowsky keeps shouting, I'm going to cut your funding. But then he's totally ineffectual because he knows Sam Neill will just kill him. But he's still like, as he's driving off, I'm cutting your funding, you're done.
Yeah,
like, I'm just like, dude.
Out.
Anyway.
And then all of a sudden.
But then like in the taxi, we find out that Chevy Chase was the taxi driver. Very problematic.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. When I saw it, I was just like,
not good. Not good. We don't do this.
Yeah.
Not okay then, not okay now.
Very stereotyped.
I mean, it's blackface. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, was it supposed to be an Indian driver?
Yeah, I think so.
It just was.
It was
No bueno. We don't do this.
Yeah.
No, should have done it then. We don't do it now. Anyway, but yeah, so he gets out of the cab after they get sideswiped by the guy because they find him real quick.
Obviously,
and, but the driver of the truck somehow wasn't buckled up or something because he's like almost like. He's walking around like he's drunk, like he hit his head on the steering wheel.
Yeah, like he's really discombobulated.
Yeah, and so anyway, so Chase throws off the clothes, but he's got all the makeup on his face.
So he's running around, you just see like the makeup
his head
face
flying around.
That was again.
It was cool.
Really
it was good. It was good.
Like Sam Neill and them driving in the car, and they look over, and you just see like a face still running, and
yeah, it was solid.
And then
I see the street cleaner and like spraying water, which I'm like, I don't think that would be how those would work because usually they're just like brushes and stuff. But I'll take it because then he has a way to wash his face off. But he's all wet.
So then you can kind of see him.
Yeah,
that's why
so
they
the wet jacket. And so Samuel follows them to the 3 Men and a Baby construction site, where they go up together in the construction elevator and have a little face off.
I will say, why would you ever, if you're trying to chase somebody, why would you go, I'll kill you if I have to? Because that'll make someone stop.
But the whole thing is like he realized in the elevator that he has the problem of like I've threatened to kill you. I've said it's like there's experiments that are gonna be done on you, but you're gonna be an operative for us. Like I want you to work with us. Like it's so all over the place.
I don't know what I want.
Yeah, he's just standing there, just like literally like I don't know if I'm gonna kill you. I don't know if I'm gonna get you to work for me. It's like Samuel just literally just is standing there like looking like he's holding all the cards, but he has nothing. Like he has nothing. I think at this point he's just kind of like, you know what? Once we get to this roof, you're either going to come with me and do what I want you to do, or I'm going to kill you.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of made pace like it's your choice at this point.
Well,
you're either going to come down with me off this roof, or you're going to.
I love how in the quotes I have, you're the most unique person on the planet. Don't walk away from history. And I was like, what? Like he's literally trying to throw every single compelling argument at him when he's standing on the rooftop because Chevy Chase's character got some dusting, some chalk, something on like one shoulder blade or one.
I thought it was still wet. I thought that shoulder was still wet.
Oh no, because I thought he'd like dipped it. It looked like it was like powdery, like something was there.
I think that was supposed to be. I thought that was supposed to be the wetness.
Oh, I thought that
later once it falls down on the ground, it hits the dust. And like since it's wet, like the dust sticks to it.
But I thought there was dust. I thought he purposely put dust on it.
It was just the effect was like I think they were trying to just couldn't figure out how to do like make it look like wet the way they wanted to. Maybe it got some dirt on it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I still feel like it was the jacket, which is cool because then he's able to trick Sam Neill and thinking he's standing on the edge because the jacket is wet, but the rest of him is dry, so he's able to kind of. He really needed to move his head over a little bit more because I feel like Sam Neill's close enough that you could tell like his voice is over here and not coming from where the jacket head is.
But I did think that was a really cool way to complete the story, I guess. Like that whole scene of him being invisible but having something on the jacket or the jacket being wet and being able to see it. I did think that was neat because at first, before you see like the audience actually sees Chevy Chase holding the jacket, I did think it was him standing there. Like, I wasn't even thinking about, oh, he's
Right.
doing something.
Yeah, I thought he was standing on the edge of the building.
Smart,
And I was trying to remember, like, does this kind of end tragically, or does it? I was trying to remember because it was just I just was like, when I was a kid, we ran this movie and I was expecting it to be a fun Chevy Chase movie with some action, and I just remember like just it being just such a either meh or sad movie.
I feel like this movie didn't know what it was.
It had, I mean, it was so concerned with these VFX things, though. I think it was just everything else was just secondary.
Yeah,
and I think that was just part of it. And you couldn't really rewrite it and maybe it was the thing where they went in with like a partial script or something, or there were a lot of rewrites going on, and it was just like.
Doesn't Chevy Chase, which this might not, but isn't he known for like improving in movies?
I feel like you'd get Chevy Chase to like possibly do something along those lines, but the problem is like with these VFX things, there's really not a lot of improv to do. The problem is there are all sorts of scenes where you could, and those would be really cheap to film compared to the VFX. So you'd think you'd really want to lean into having innovative, fun Chevy Chase style things. The problem is though he's always acerbic. Like that's the thing. Like his humor is so acerbic that you need other more kookiness. You need more.
You can't
another
just have
character
him be
that's
the
more
only
off
one.
the wall.
Well, they could have made Sam Neill's character be like a crazy bad guy, like a goofy crazy bad guy.
Oof, but then you might get Dan Aykroyd in Caddyshack 2, and no one wants Dan Aykroyd in Caddyshack 2.
See, I was more thinking of like the person in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. After he's been recartoonized with
oh no, like that's a little much. Like
but like that sort of where it's really scary and it's still really scary. But it's still funny. Like, it's still funny.
Ooh,
it's funny.
No,
I was terrified as a kid.
No.
But it's funny.
When
he's slowly being steamrolled and it's like coming a mile away.
I was horrified as a kid.
I was horrified as a kid too, but it's still funny.
It's still horrifying.
I don't know. I don't watch that movie anyway because of the shoe part. The cartoon shoe going into the liquid.
There's something funny about that.
That's not funny, no, but the rest of the movie is.
But like he's getting flattened. Like he's literally getting steamrolled. And like that's gross. Like it's a dude
But then he can just blow himself up by sticking his thumb in his mouth like
every other cartoon but then like character. Like when he blows himself up and the way he looks when he blows himself up, it's just so creepy and gross and just like, when I killed your brother, you're just like...
And his voice is insane.
Like, that part was wild,
That's
Leah.
True.
How would you laugh at any of that? I'm still terrified of that scene.
It's funny now that I'm older. When I was younger, it was horrifying.
It's
but yeah,
so
now that I'm
Christopher
older,
Lloyd's amazing in that scene. Like, that's his Academy Award moment.
Definitely. Hands down,
he didn't get enough credit, like, for his career.
Hands down.
With all that. Like,
yeah, he was great. That movie is great. I just hate the fact that they have to sacrifice a sad cartoon shoe.
I was Evelyn's age when I watched it, but there's no way she's ready
I think I was really young when I watched it too.
Yeah, but Annie Hoozleby. So yeah, he basically gets Sam Neill to run at him like a bull, and he basically yells Toro, and Sam Neill hits the board where that jacket was and falls to his death.
Well, and that's the thing too, is I was like, okay, Sam Neill's a CIA operative. Why would he run full speed off the side of a building?
Olay, you son of a...
I don't know what his goal was. It's like
if you were going to grab him, wouldn't you grab him and pull?
It's like Ray's plan at the beginning of Ghostbusters 1, 2, get her! And it's like, well, that's not a plan.
No.
Like, you're going to run at a guy on the edge of a building? Like, is that how... I didn't get the idea that Sam Neill was that desperate. Like, it would have been one thing if it's like he got the idea his career was over.
Well, that's
like like his wife called to say she's leaving him, and he's all disheveled, like his tie's all crazy, and you can tell he's losing his mind because like Chevy Chase is just that good at like eluding him, and at the end he's just so nuts that you believe he would just like tackle the guy.
But that's what I mean by the end of the Who Framed Roger Rabbit, like that hysterical like everything's crumbling, I've got nothing left.
But he still is like tightly laced, put together.
Yeah,
like
it doesn't really make sense.
Either you're coming with me or you're dead. Like, and that's the decision that's going to be made on top of this rooftop. He feels in control, and then he runs right at him.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so you want you both to be dead? Like, even if you did think that was him, like, which obviously you did, you ran at him. So what was the end goal? For you to land on top of the Invisible Man and hopefully not be dead? You're jumping off of a building.
I don't know. Yeah.
That part, I was just like, that's a weird way. I mean, they didn't fully end the movie that way, but in terms of tying up the whole climax. That's how they ended it. And I just felt so unsatisfied by it. And then, of course, we see...
Yeah, so Daryl Hannah's there, and she picks up the jacket that's got the dust on it. And I like how the jacket is, like, half gone and half the dirt. Like, it's kind of cool. And she hugs it to herself, and Tom Loss is like, you didn't hear anything, you didn't see anything, you're not going to say anything. And he lets her go,
she
which
doesn't
is
even
cool.
say anything. Yeah, well, but you would think that they would...
But then, Chevy Chase then comes up and is like,
I'm
what
really
you looking
here.
for?
Or
whatever. And so she's like, don't react. And so then she like leans into him.
On him,
and
like,
so
has his arm around
basically
her.
just like leaning against nothing, walking down the street and holding the jacket, which I'm glad she has the jacket. So now he still has this completely invisible outfit.
Sure.
Which it's important. Like that's literally
but
like
the jacket isn't like fully important. He still has the shirt.
But like, if you're in a place that's cold, that's the only jacket you can wear and still be invisible. No, I'm serious.
That's
layering.
True. That is true.
Leah, like you gotta think, like the shoes, like you cannot wear out those shoes.
Layering.
Like literally, I would have those things locked in a safe or something. Like,
I mean, nobody would know that they were in there.
Exactly, but like the safe is empty. Well, I mean, it's literally the most important things he has because again, protection for his physical body.
It's true. That is true.
I know he doesn't need it for modesty, but.
No, you're
glass.
right. You're right.
Like,
you're
broke, shoot the glass. Like again, coming back to that, the shoes. Like
it's true.
You can't not have these things. Like
it's very important. It is very important. I agree with you. Like no matter where he's
now
at.
It doesn't matter because he's in Switzerland and he can wear his ski outfit with the gloves. He makes the joke that he should go to Switzerland because then he can wear a ski mask all year, which I'm just like, I guess climate change wasn't quite a thing yet, as much as it wasn't now. But in terms of like basically being like no snow and having to make snow for the Winter Olympics, like 100% of it. Like that's, I mean, it's just wild. Anyway, but yeah, it's.
But yeah, and then like him pulling up his ski mask too and like not seeing anything, that was cool.
And Hannah's got the baby bump,
which is an invisible baby.
I don't know.
I highly doubt that.
No.
The baby didn't have anything happen to him unless there's like gamma ray radiation coming off of him, which then
Daryl Hannah's hair should be falling
out. I was
going
to say that she's messed up.
Yeah.
They actually have the Hulk, as a baby. Gamma radiation.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's the Hulk origin story here.
There it is.
Or Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman.
Yeah. There it is.
Where she can choose to be invisible or not.
We should just film a movie and just do all these spin-offs. We come up with these great ideas after watching the movie.
Given the Invisible movie is a Marvel character and this is a Warner Brothers film, sure.
We can do it.
Yeah.
Force.
Sure. They are going to come out with the Justice League Avengers team up or something
I saw
like
that because The Rock's playing Black Adam, so they
No. This is a comic that was put out in the early aughts, and the guy who created it, he's just diagnosed with like 3rd stage pancreatic cancer or something like that, and he's not going to have any treatments or whatever. So, but he's heavily involved in this fund that goes to like provide healthcare for comic artists, things like that, and so the sales of this book will go towards that. I'm like, I want to find it to order it, but it's like you have to go to the local comic shops, and so I gotta.
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to get it for the library, but anyway. But it was a Marvel DC crossover team up thing of the Justice League, and I want to say like the Avengers or some kind, and it's like never happened before, probably never happen again. And so I was like, it's one of those things where it'd be fun to have that. But anyway,
I thought that you were talking about the new.
No. New
Justice League movie.
No, there's no Justice League movie.
There.
Not anytime soon.
The Rock just put something on there about it because it has Black Adam, it has Aquaman with Jason Momoa sitting on a throne. There's like a whole bunch of other.
But he's promoting like the upcoming DC roster.
Oh, okay.
He's not promoting a team
I thought that he was doing like I was like, are they really filming another Justice League?
I think he's trying to get in your head of just like
maybe.
What do you think, guys?
The first Justice League.
The problem is like I don't understand
bad.
how. I haven't seen the HBO Max one.
No, I haven't. The Zack Snyder. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. But
I just don't know if I can justify 4 hours.
I can't.
But the Black Adam. I just don't know how to feel about Black Adam. Like I watched like the teaser thing, and I'm just like, so he's a bad guy, but he's a good guy because he does bad things, but he does it for good reasons.
I think they're trying to. I think they're trying to make it. He has a tragic story,
and he does evil things because he was really hurt by like his wife and kid and whatever being destroyed, and he's really mad at this guy. But anyway. I
feel like they're trying to make it be like just. In a stretch.
He's going to be a bad guy that turns into a good guy or something along those lines.
I think in a stretch, it's almost like they're Deadpool. In terms of a bad guy, good guy. Not in terms of comedy or anything like that. I think that's what that's what they're trying to go for.
Like, I mean, even Batman's an anti-hero to a degree, but...
I mean... Nah, I don't
We
know.
get Sparkle Batman next week. I mean,
I am excited to see the Batman movie. I was very nervous about Robert Pattinson.
I'm never gonna talk my way into seeing it, but I hate how much I like how it looks.
I think it looks really good, but I did not think Robert Pattinson would do a good Batman.
You never undersell the person cast as Batman unless it's Ben Affleck, and then undersell or George Clooney to let's give Val Kilmer. George Clooney can be Bruce Wayne all day, every day.
That was my argument.
He just can't put on the suit. If you made just the movie called Bruce Wayne, yes, cast George Clooney.
But also,
by all means,
I feel bad.
Old Man Wayne, cast the movie. There's no bat suit.
He does a great Bruce Wayne.
He is
really
Bruce Wayne. I mean, he's so suave and charismatic, and got the money and whatever, and the women and all that stuff. Like Clooney is Bruce Wayne. He just isn't Batman.
Michael Keaton will always be my number one.
Darn right.
I love Michael Keaton.
Keaton is the best. I mean, he was fine as Bruce Wayne. I mean, you didn't really get much of him as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, you could kind of.
But as Batman, he was just great. Like, I mean, but you don't understand. Like before the internet message board, I mean, when Michael Keaton was cast, like everyone was just like, Mr. Mom, Beetlejuice, this guy, like the guy from like everything else that people had known him, like was just comedies and like a whole lot of nothing, and like you're making this guy Batman, and like just how well it worked was phenomenal.
Amazing.
And so don't undersell. I knew Pattinson had it in him.
Yeah, no, and he's a really good actor. He is. I think it's just
he's made interesting choices.
He has
after Twilight.
I think. Well, I mean, and he probably did it for a reason, trying to distance himself.
I mean, the money was amazing.
Yeah, but you also don't want to be stereo cast, sort of like Daniel Radcliffe was. Why he had kind of a gap and he went to Broadway.
Yes,
because he wanted to step away.
And he basically chooses roles because he wants to. I mean, he's playing Weird Al right now, which is just
yeah.
Why does it have to be on Roku? Doggone it, Leah. Like, I hate Roku. I don't want to buy a Roku just for this. Like, it's stupid.
You gotta have connections. My friend Jake has a Roku, so I'm just gonna. Hey, I'm coming to your house.
I don't want to buy one of these damn things to watch this movie. Like, Leah. Anyway, so yeah. So they're in Aspen. She's pregnant. He feels the baby bump, which is just like, why are you coming out and doing that for just for us, huh? Like, it's just weird. It's so awkward.
It was very awkward.
I just felt grossed out. And so apparently he's making the big money because he tells her to open up a brokerage account for him to like, get the ball rolling. And apparently he's making Switzerland money off of those deals.
Apparently he's doing okay. Being invisible in Switzerland. Just having a family. Living the life. No probes going in him. No experiments happening. I don't know. This movie, I did have high hopes for. I'm glad that I watched it. I'm glad that I spoke with you about it because I do agree about the effects. It kind of cleared up some of the questions that I had.
Sure.
Still fell short.
I mean, it's worth seeing if you keep in mind 1992, like Terminator 2, Jurassic Park. This is sandwiched in the middle. Like this is a major. These VFX are a major accomplishment.
They are, but at the same time, I'm just like, speaking of those movies, this one just fell, and it was John Carpenter, and it just.
Yeah, I don't understand if the money was too good to pass up, if it was a favor, if it was like he agreed to do that so then he could do this. Like, I don't,
yeah.
As far as I know, I don't know what other Warner Brothers films he's made, because I'm just trying to figure out. I mean, one day if I mean him, maybe I'll ask him, but then again, I don't want him to be like, get away from me.
Get away from me. Why are you asking me about
So the one thing you're going to ask me, I would love to have him do I'd love a commentary track from him, just so he can like you don't have to badmouth people, just like talk about your experience on the film, like setting how you set up the shots and like what you were thinking and like what you were hoping for. I mean, things that you wanted to do but you couldn't, or you don't have to like say like this person shut me down, or like, you know, this person was hard to work with, or like they wouldn't do this or whatever. You could just be like, you know, I wish we could have done it this way, or like,
but circumstances made us.
Yeah, like you don't have to be specific. You can just kind of basically. It would just be really fun to get his take on like what he liked about it, and like what he wish could have been different, or like if he had it to do over again, like I would have probably tried to make this scene a little more of this.
Yeah,
like I'd really love to hear his thoughts on it, but it's like with Lynch with Dune, like his Dune movie. Like I would love to hear Lynch just like, I get that you were unhappy, I get the movie was taken away from you, I get that you had like no control, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'd really love to just get his thoughts on like what worked for you, like what kind of things do you wish would have happened, what would have been different for you, like
what would have been your movie, like if it was just run by you, what would you have done?
Just to hear his thoughts on like at this point, you got to have some perspective on it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, but again, he may just not want to go back. So, and that's fine. I guess I get that. But anyway, well, those are our thoughts on Memoirs of an Invisible Man. And usually this is where we have Clucifer, but we're going to be taking a break for a little bit. We're going to take the month of March off to kind of revamp the show a little bit. And we will be back at the beginning of April with new episodes. And it's going to be an exciting month, I think. Yes. So be sure to, now the new episodes are dropping. They might be new to you, so feel free to check those out. And the movies will still be on Hoopla or Canopy, so make sure you still have those accounts ready. And until our next episodes, for Live at Grindhouse, I'm Jesse.
And I'm Leah.
And we'll see you soon.
Bye.